Okay.
Hi, so we're now finally live. Good evening, everyone. Happy Thursday. Konting push na lang po, it's finally Friday and almost nearing the weekend. So, hi to our viewers, to our constant followers and viewers, ayan. And to those who are new to our channel and to our Facebook and social media pages. Hi, everyone. Good evening. So, welcome to our Big C Thursday meetup. This Thursday will be special because it's not just your typical Thursday meetup, but it's also a book launch. So you will get to know about our very beautiful guest later. I'm so yeah, sana all, 'di ba? Like what they say, sana all maganda. So a very beautiful Thursday to everyone. So
Mhm.
invite your
Yeah.
friends, invite your family members to tune in and to watch today's Big C Thursday live sa mga nasa IG. Ayan. Share this live on your walls, on your LinkedIn, and share this Instagram live as well to your friends. You can just click
Mhm.
the share button, the envelope shake, then you share the live to your friends, or you can even tag your friends on the comment section so that they can watch our live. So there. Ano naman po, let me hear from our viewers by commenting yes, below sa ating comment section, and
Yes.
let me
Hello.
feel
Good
your
evening.
hello sa ating mga viewers dyan.
Denise, I just got disconnected from IG, so please reconnect me again.
Okay po. Sige po.
Okay, I'm gonna say hi to everyone. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, it's still early, so please share our live tonight.
Yeah,
Go
super
live.
early. Yeah, super early pa, but ang bilis-bilis kasi it's already mid-November. So we're nearing Christmas. My goodness,
Mhm.
parang kailan lang. It was just the start of 2022. And now we're nearing December. It's the Christmas season.
Have
Yes,
you put
diba?
up your Christmas tree yet?
No, not yet, Christine. Actually, we don't feel like putting.
I thought in the Philippines we put the Christmas tree up in September already.
September 1.
Yeah. Nako, in our household, we're just so lazy to put up Christmas decors. Although we already have Christmas lights outside the house, but inside the house, it's just the normal setting, the usual day-to-day setup. No, wala pang bakas ng Pasko. Ayan. So, dumadami na ang ating viewers. Hello,
Yes,
hello.
hello. Aha. Okay, so please share. Hello, everyone. Good evening again. Welcome to another edition of our Thursday live events. So yeah, this is a very. I think this is the first time that we will do something like this. No, we will be talking more about this later. So kung nanonood kayo from the Philippines, from anywhere around Southeast Asia or anywhere around the world, ayan. So hi naman kayo sa ating comments. Ayan. So good evening, everyone. And before we proceed, I think si Eunice may mga gusto siyang sabihin sa ating mga viewers. And ito lang, siguro for my part, ayan, like I always ask yung audience natin, please share the live event that's happening right now to your friends, to your family, because tonight yan, siksik yung ano natin, siksik yung night natin tonight. O di ba? I'm so repetitive. The night tonight. But yeah, we will be learning a lot. We will be learning a lot. We will be I'm sure we will all be inspired to to just go out there and like get something for ourselves and our future. So mamaya teaser pa lang to, no. So share it to your friends, share it to your office mates, share the live to to your family para makanood din sila tonight and sama-sama tayo na this to just empower one another. So before we jump into the main event, no, I give the floor back to Eunice, for our usual intro. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, diba? Ayan. So, we are so now this Thursday actually it's part of our advocacy here in Big C to educate every viewer and to educate women not only about finances but holistically, like a holistic approach. So, what is Big C, diba? I'm sure madami nagtatanong sa inyo and madaming new sa ating live who's asking what is Big C. So, bago yan, hi Miss Yoli. Good evening. Yes, good evening po and thank you so much for tuning in. So, please invite your friends. So, going back, ayan, Big C is a platform that connects women who want to invest with the knowledge, network, and tools to start investing. So, we are providing you the platform through the app. So all you have to do is download the app. You can scan the QR codes provided or sa mga naka-flash sa mga screens nyo. Or you can simply go to your Google Play or App Store and just type Big C. And once you see the logo, yung eyes na may tatlong pilik mata dyan, ayan, i-download nyo na yung app. It's for free and you also get to register for free. So what you can find inside the app is like it's a whole new platform that can help you on how to budget or can help you learn about finances and all. So we are the very first app to have this kind of product and to have this kind of advocacy. So what else? So ayan, sa ating mga nasa Instagram, all you have to do is to download the app for free at your Google Store and at your App Store. So ayan. So, later, babalikan ko kayo for my other announcements. But without further ado, I will turn over the floor to Vil to introduce our speaker, our very special and beautiful speaker for tonight. So, there, Attorney Vil.
Ayan. Hi again. Before I introduce her, no, but I want to show something. So Eunice, siguro for the benefit of those who are watching on Instagram. Sige, mamaya. Later pa yan. For those who are watching on Instagram, siguro i-focus mo muna yung camera sa screen natin because I will be showing an introductory video. So here we go. Wait ka nga. Mahina yung kalaban. So, isi-share ko pa muna. Ayun. Sige, mag-leave muna ako. So, why did we show that video? Because tonight, like Eunice mentioned, na we are having a special guest. But, hindi siya bago or hindi siya first timer. She's not a first timer with Big C. She's not new to Big C because, in fact, she is one of Big C's advisor. And tonight, and also, she is also a Filipina. Ayan. So, di ba? We look very international tonight, but we're all Filipinas here. And at the same time, tonight, we are doing a book launch. So, mamaya, papakita natin kung ano yung book na yan. And ito, yung isa sa pinaka-exciting part. Christine was also very generous, no, to share 3 copies of her book. Ayan. So libre 'yan. So mamaya I will be telling you how you can win that book because isa sa mga audience natin ay magiging lucky winner tonight. So we will be having 3 lucky winners, and as we go on with the conversation, no, we will be announcing kung paano nyo mapapanalunan yung book. So without further ado, I would like to very brief yung introduction ko for Christine, because I want her to tell you ladies, no, more about herself. So ladies, and of course gentlemen who are here, let's all welcome Miss Christine Amor Levar.
Thank you so much, Bill. Thank you, Eunice. I'm delighted to be here tonight and on Big C's show. I know we have a lot of viewers from the Philippines, at the moment, my home country. So it's very special to me, in particular, to be here tonight to talk a little bit about my book that's just coming out. So thank you for having me. Just a bit of background for some of our viewers who may not know who I am. I'm actually based in Singapore. I'm a social entrepreneur here. I have been here almost 17 years in Singapore. This is home, although I grew up in the Philippines, as I mentioned, and have lived around the world in different parts, in the US, Japan, Europe, before I moved to Singapore. The last 10 years, I've really been focused on philanthropy. So I have a couple of nonprofit organizations that I set up in Singapore to support vulnerable women. The first one is Women on a Mission, which I co-founded with 2 friends 10 years ago. It supports women impacted by violence and abuse. And the second one is called Her Planet Earth, which I set up 5 years ago to support women impacted by climate change, because I realized that women were in fact the most impacted by climate change, but we're also a huge part of the solution. So the book that I'm launching tonight talks a little bit about my personal journey from my early years growing up in the Philippines, my university days in Japan, my career across many continents, and then how I came about to set up these 2 nonprofit organizations, and the trips that it has taken me on, because the way we raise awareness and funds for our charity partners is really by taking all-female teams on expeditions around the world, to some pretty challenging places, and some of these expeditions have also been pioneering, to some wild places around the globe, from the Arctic Circle to Antarctica to deserts in the Middle East and Africa. And we've climbed many mountains all over the world, and all this to support women who are vulnerable and who need our support. So it's a pleasure and an honor tonight to be on Big C's live channel, and to tell you a little bit more about this book that has just launched literally a couple weeks ago.
Ayan. So thank you, Christine, for being here, no, for allowing us to invite you to be with us tonight sa Big C. So like you mentioned, you have a book. So tell us about your book, Wild Wisdom: Life Lessons from Leading Teams to Some of the Most Inhospitable Places in the World. So tell us about it. Ayan, naka-flash sa screen natin ngayon. And what inspired you to write this book on Wild Wisdom?
Thank you, Vil. So when the pandemic struck, I was, like all of us, like many of us, at home, grounded. I couldn't travel anymore. And of course, I had always wanted to write a second book, because this is actually my second book. 10 years ago, I wrote a first book. I self-published it. It's called The Smart Girl's Handbook to Being Mummylicious, which talks about my journey having 4 children, and getting back into shape and getting my groove back. And it also talks about how we should always chase our dreams, especially when we become mothers, even though it may not always be easy. So I always wanted to write a second book about these last 10 years, from these experiences that I've had, thanks to Women on a Mission and Her Planet Earth. And so it felt like the right time, obviously, to do that. I had time at home. And as I started writing this book, I got contacted on LinkedIn by my publisher, Penguin Random House. The head of Penguin in Southeast Asia sent me a lovely message on LinkedIn, saying, I see you're a speaker. You must have a story to tell. Have you thought of writing a book? And I said, well, actually, I am writing a book. So that was really good coincidence, And she said, okay, what are you writing about? So I said to her, I'm actually writing a book, a little bit about leadership, my leadership lessons from these expeditions. And then she said, well, actually, we have too many books on leadership. That's not really what we're interested in. I said, okay. fine. Well, actually, it's a little bit of a memoir, it's about my life. And she goes, well, unless you're Michelle Obama, we're not that interested. So then we went back and forth for a few months, and she kept in touch. She was really good. She followed up a few times, and she said, Christine, your unique selling proposition really is that you have taken these women on these incredible trips, and there must be so many life lessons that could appeal to a broader audience, and we'd love you to write about that. So she was very persuasive. I relooked at my outline, and kind of changed it a little bit and submitted a proposal a few months after. And basically a couple of days later, she accepted it, and I signed a contract with them to write this book. So then the journey took about 18 months. When you sign a contract with them, you have to then deliver a manuscript of about 60,000 words. So we set a date for that. I did that. I delivered that on time, and then I waited a few months to see what was going to happen. And then I finally heard back after about 4 months, I believe, 4 or 5 months, from the first editor, who gave me a lot of advice on how to improve the manuscript, how to shape it, how to go deeper into some of the emotions that I felt at different points in my life and through these journeys. So she really helped me find my voice. I'm very grateful for that. And it was a lot of work, actually. They don't give you that much time for the turnaround. So over 3 weeks, I worked on the manuscript, woke up at 5 a.m., worked really hard on that, and submitted another 23,000 words. And then after that, it was a bit easier. Then they have different editors that look at the copy editing, the type of spelling they use. It's a mixture of American English spelling, the layout, etc. And then, finally, we got it published. So it's available all over the world now. And they put you in touch with their wonderful marketing team, who's probably watching as well right now. And they pitched your book to different editors around the world. And so that's been really wonderful to have their support. I've gotten quite a bit of press thanks to that. And now we're just sharing the news about the book. They also picked the cover. So they came up with the design of the cover. They asked me to submit a few pictures from my expeditions. They picked what they felt had most impact and suited the cover. And that's how we came to where we are today, where we are now ready with a finalized book.
Wow. I was actually taking notes on how when Christine was mentioning about how she thought about it. Of course, she started with like, oh, I want to write about leadership lessons, and then memoir, and then the process of really like arriving to this book right now, the Wild Wisdom. It was also wild. It wasn't like it wasn't really like, oh, di ba? Parang bukas gusto ko magsulat ng book. It's not.
It's
that.
a journey. I mean, writing a book, it's a real taskmaster. It's not an easy thing to do, but it's such a great experience. I really would encourage everyone, if you haven't written a book yet, to go for it, because it's a real introspection in your life, and to reflect on the life lessons that you've had and the choices you've made over the years.
Mm-hmm. Siguro, Christine, no, here the title itself of the book is Life Lessons from Leading Teams to Some of the Most Inhospitable Places in the World. Siguro, I when I was listening to you, what is top of mind? What is the biggest life lesson or most memorable life lesson that you siguro kahit preview lang, you don't have to discuss it, so we can read in your book, no? Like, what is the most memorable life lesson that you actually had or learned throughout the years that you were mentioning earlier?
There were so many. There really were so many. But I think, and when I look at the title that we picked, it's really about connecting with nature and learning from those experiences that we have when we challenge ourselves to go to some remote places. And in this case, these are treks that are for a very good cause, supporting other women who may not have the same privileges as us. So, there were so many learning moments for me. Of course, learning about myself was one. There's a lot of humility that comes with spending time in nature and appreciation. And of course, it created a desire inside me to try to do more to protect her as well. That's why I set up my second NGO, Her Planet Earth, because the more time you spend in nature, the more you realize that we need to do more to protect her and to change our ways. I've learned a lot about leadership, about being with teams of women from all walks of life, because my teammates are from the age of 22 to 60. I have all sorts of profession, from CEOs and artists to stay-at-home moms, and are all races and nationalities. And they've been a huge part of the journey for me, all my co-founders and partners and teammates. I've learned so much from them as well. So I couldn't give you really one simple answer for that. There are so many moments that I've learned, and about different things in my life, and so you'll find that hopefully when you read the book.
Yes,
There's so
definitely.
many situations.
Yeah, I'll definitely read the book. Kasi sometimes, not sometimes, like most of the time, when you read something from someone that you actually know or you've actually met, it's actually more that's just, I don't know, it's this is me. It's actually more impactful because wow, it really happened to this person. That person who wrote it isn't just imaginary, no.
Yeah, you can
Parang,
relate. You can relate to the person.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah, and
yeah,
I,
so
and, I always say this. What I hope sometimes when I wrote this book, I also hope that a lot of people would realize that I'm just an ordinary person. I'm just like everyone, but I've had the opportunity to do some pretty incredible things in my life. And so by telling this story, I hope to show that through being brave and adventurous, and obviously having the motivation to support other people who are more vulnerable, and who need our support. You go through a learning journey that opens so many other doors to you. You have so many other opportunities that come your way as well when you just let yourself be brave and daring and take up opportunities that could be a little bit scary sometimes.
mhm. Yeah, perfect. Kasi the next part is you actually mentioned about learning journey, and you mentioned earlier that a huge part of your journey involved women, the women on mission, and the teams that you work with, may mga stay home moms, CEOs, etc. So leading teams like this, what led you to advocating for like women empowerment or women
Hmm.
economic empowerment?
Sure. So I think the journey really started for me growing up in the Philippines. So I was born and raised in the Philippines. As you know, the Philippines is a country of very strong women. We have women in many leadership positions. And actually, if you look at Asia Pacific, the Philippines is actually one of the most gender equal societies in the region. It's on par with Australia and New Zealand. We've had two women presidents, so I think that influenced me very early on. I saw that as a woman, there was no limit to what you could achieve. I had so many role models around me, but I also saw great inequality. The Philippines is one of the poorest countries in the region, in the world. We are also heavily impacted by climate change, and every time the climate shifted, and we had typhoons and earthquakes, and volcanoes, it was always the most impoverished population that suffered the most. And that really marked me as a child. Especially, I saw the vulnerability and the inequality. And so, this is something that I was aware of very early on as I continued and had many opportunities in my life and in my career. I had the chance to study at international schools. I went to Japan for university. I had so many opportunities in my life and in my career. And I realized that, there was a point in my life, and I call it my tipping point, and I talk about it in the book, where I realized I had to do more. I had to give back. And I had to find ways to use my skills and experience to contribute. And this is what led me really to start advocating for other women, and to support different projects that would empower them and help them become more successful and have better livelihoods.
Yeah, I could actually relate to that because like you mentioned, there are a lot of empowered women in the Philippines, but at the same time we still see a lot of like inequalities when it comes to vulnerabilities of women and children. And that's really nice that you came to this point in your life, Nona. You're not just you're not just like looking from a distance, but you're actually out there empowering women, working with women, and like giving back talaga. And that's actually not to patronize or whatever, but yun yung mga yun yung mga nakaka-inspire actually, na kumbaga parang you actually raise a lot of women din na pwedeng na in the future, we can also do that in their communities. And
Yeah, and
based from my
it's been a team effort. I mean, it's been a team effort. I have many people who've come with me on this expedition. It's not just me. It's been my sisters. My very much my teammates, my partners, my co-founders. It's a volunteer movement, so we don't pay ourselves to do this. Whatever we fundraise, we donate. But it has opened so many other doors for us and has added to our fulfillment, of course. And it's been a little movement. It's our own way of changing the world, if you will, one woman at a time. But it is something that anyone can do in their own field. And even using expeditions and sports as a way to raise awareness and funds is not new. We didn't reinvent the wheel. We just branded it and created another story around it. So I hope to inspire more people to take action in that sense, if you will, because if somebody like me can do it, anyone can really, honestly, and can find a way to do it their own special way with their own special skills, because we all have different gifts and different skills.
All right. So, yeah, before we go in, gusto kong bumalik sa book mo later, no. I have another question regarding your book, but here, the title of our live event tonight is Building Your Best Life. So, for Christine, for you, what is the meaning of best life, and how do you create one? Oops.
Can you repeat the question? I think we
I'm
had a bit
sorry.
of a loss of signal.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I think naghanga. So, for you, for Christine, for you, what is the meaning of best life? Kasi yung title ng series, I mean the
Best life.
event of the-
Yes, very
Building Your Best Life. What is a best life for you, and how do you create it?
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's different for everyone. But for me, obviously, my best life is feeling that I have purpose and that I'm contributing in some capacity to trying to build a better world. What's also important for me is learning. I enjoy learning. I love learning. And this is really key to me being happy in my life. So that's why I've always taken different challenges along the way. As you get older, you know yourself better as well. So you understand what makes you happy. Living my best life means also continuing to explore and having the opportunities to visit new places and far-flung places that I don't know about. I have a big bucket list that I still want to discover with my teammates. I also enjoy being a wife and a mother. That's also part of me being happy and balanced and enjoying my life. And I think my children are watching right now as well. So there's many ways to lead your best life, and of course the last one and most important is to feel that you're in some way supporting and uplifting others with real generosity of spirit, and doing it in an authentic way, because this is actually what will bring you the most happiness in your life. And I've experienced that. I've been lucky to experience that through the work that we've been doing.
Ayan. Gusto ko yung I like the last part of what you said. I actually listed it here. It's generosity of spirit and being authentic on how you do it. So very important talaga yung yung authenticity, the genuine feeling and the genuineness of whatever you do. So yeah, that's actually very nice. So eto na. Let's take a quick pause, Miss Christine, because I will be announcing how the women who are watching right here tonight can win your book. Ayan, si Wild Wisdom. So, paano nga ba mapapanalunan tong Wild Wisdom na book si Miss Christine? So, I just posted inside the Bixi app. I'm not sure if you're seeing it. Yan. Inside the Bixi app, when you go to live events, I posted here, Building Your Best Life, win a book tonight. So, pwede kayong mag-comment. No wrong answers in the comment section. Mag-type lang kayo, for you, what is the best life? Ayan, kakasagot lang yan ni Miss Christine kanina. Pwede niyo siyang gayahin kung yun yung best life for you. But of course, sabi nga niya, kanya-kanyang sagot yan. Anyone can have their definition of a best life. Ako siguro, what's the best life for me? I'm not yet very sure, but I always tell my sister, when one day I will not, I don't have to wake up with an alarm clock. I think I've achieved the best life. Ang weird, no? That's not naman the pinaka like purpose of my life. But yeah, anything that you think defines what you think of a best life, then just answer it here. I'm showing it now on
Mm.
Instagram. Yan. And I'm showing it here. So it's in the Bixi app. Just go to the Bixi app. You go to community. Yan. And then you just click on Bixi events. It's the top comment. So comment lang kayo dito. No wrong answer. And you could be one of the three. Ayan, three lucky winners of Wild Wisdom by Miss Christine. She is the author of the book. And for those who just came in the live, kasi may nakikita ako na dumadating. So our speaker right now is
Mm.
Miss Christine, and she is the author of the book, which is flash in your screen right now, Wild Wisdom. So, ayan. Sige, let's continue, no? So, what is, so, minention mo kanina what is the best life, ganyan. And of course, to achieve that best life, of course, we want to peak ba in your daily life. So what is a day? What is a normal day in Christine's life? And paano mo, how do you reach your goals? So baka you can share that to our audience, and of course to
Sure.
us then.
So I'm quite lucky that each day is very different for me, and it's never boring. I'm lucky to be able to work on interesting projects and initiatives that really inspire me. I've built my life like that. But it's actually, there's a lot of thought that goes behind that. So I've been doing this for 20 years. Every year at the end of the year, I actually prepare a life plan. I used to write it down, and then I ended up typing it. And now I actually I do type it and print it out once a year and bind it in a little like a leather folder, and it includes everything. It starts with what I'm grateful for. I really look at the year and I think, what am I grateful for? That's the starting point, because gratitude is such a powerful emotion. And then I list, my top 10 things that I'd like to achieve and focus on for the year. And then I actually break it down into a plan of 12 months. And very detailed, actually, in terms of how I'm going to work towards achieving those initiatives and those goals. And I go into different kind of sections. I look at, how am I going to support my children and my husband? How am I going to plan my finances? What am I going to learn this year? How am I going to grow? How am I going to orient my career? How am I going to give back? How am I going to look at my spirituality, my health, my fitness? And I get quite granular and put some plans in place. It includes a lot of details. I even have a page that I call my big ass dreams, like dreams that are almost unreachable, but I like to list down and to see if I can somehow get there, to stretch myself a bit. And so I do that. And then as I plan my week, every week I pull out my schedule, and then I also pull out this little book and I look at it again and try to align some of those goals and objectives and make sure that somehow it fits into the week as well, on top of all the other appointments that I have, so that in a way I have a roadmap during the year. And it can still change, and it's flexible, and if I don't achieve everything, it's absolutely fine. But I try to look at my life and my year, and find a way that it has a map that, where I really want to be. So that I've thought hard about putting my time and energy, because, as you know, time is the most precious commodity that you have, right? So you have to make sure that you're spending it in a constructive way, and on things that are going to make you grow and that are aligned with what you're planning for yourself. So I think hard about that. It's not random.
I like that. I think I have
I hope that
to
answers
start.
your question.
Yes.
I
Yes.
see some questions. Should we take questions from the audience then?
Yeah. Actually, Christine, they're actually
They're
telling
actually
what's best
answering
life.
what's the best
Yeah.
life. Yes. Actually,
Yes.
Oh, they're still answering. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So
one,
guys,
yeah.
Oh, they're
Say it,
asking for the Amazon link. Maybe we can put it in.
yeah.
yes, please send sa amin, Miss Teen, and then we will post it later. But yes,
Mm.
for me, ang daming sumasagot, ladies. Thank you for your answers. But like I mentioned, how do we get a free copy? No, of course, papaship namin yan. Papaship ni Eunice yan sa inyo. You have to go inside the app. Yan. Download the Bixi app, of course, and you go inside the app, go to community, and comment nyo dito. Ayan, i-type nyo dito sa live events. Makikita nyo naman yung makikita nyo yung picture ng book here. Yeah, there. here.
So, sa mga nagta-type nung mga best life nila, ng mga definition nila ng best life dito sa comment section, thank you so much for your answers. So, sabi ni Miss Ken, for me, best life para sa akin ay yung maging isang nanay.
Hmm.
Kahit na hindi ako perfect, alam kong perfect ako sa mata ng mga anak ko. Ang ganda-ganda, di ba? At dahil dyan, Miss Ken, you can also type in that answer of yours inside the Big C app. Just go through the live circle or community, then go to the post with the book of Miss Christine, then type in your answer there to win
Yes.
to for you to get the chance to win her Wild Wisdom book. So, sabi naman ni Miss Pen, for me, the best life is how to be contented in life and be thankful always for all the blessings you have received every day. So, meron po talaga tayong kanya-kanyang definition ng best life, no?
Mhm.
Right?
Of course, of course. And yeah, it's actually inspiring to see different perspectives of, how
Yeah.
what's a best life? What's the best life for Christine, for Ken, for Pen, everyone here who's commenting, no? Kasi kumbaga it also gives me a different view of everyone's, like priorities and purpose then in life. So again, ladies, as we mentioned, please comment your answers. 3 books are waiting for you. So this is also not good part. So I hope you can also like list, kasi I'm gonna ask Christine a very important question and very Miss Universe question, because I you know we're now going back to her book. Ayan. So in your, kasi nalaman na natin, wait lang, before we proceed with her book, no, when you were mentioning about, creating a life plan and actually writing it, I think I will start doing that already. I actually do planning, yung planner, but it goes on usually like mga ano lang, month to month ganun, but not really like a mapped out event guide kumbaga for my year. So it actually, when you were talking about it, it's actually good, because like you mentioned, time is precious, and it will make sure that I will not like waste, time on things na hindi naman aligned dun sa purpose ko, for example, for 2023.
Yes.
So I think I'm gonna start doing that then. So now we're going back to your book, no, Miss Christine. So you mentioned about wild wisdom and life lessons in the book. So what do you think are the top 3, ayan, pieces of, wild wisdom or advice
Oh.
that you have for
Yes.
your audience today, ayan, especially in the face, of, like ang dami-dami nangyayari ngayon, may inflation, possible recession, like you mentioned, like disasters and all. So yeah, top 3 para naman may para teaser pa rin. Top 3 wild wisdom. Yeah.
Wisdoms. Okay. So I would say the first one for sure is know your values. That's at the heart of everything. Really understanding what you treasure, what you value, what's important to you, what you won't accept, what will stand by. Really understand what is it that shapes you, and usually it comes really from our childhood. From how we were shaped then. So I think that's really important. Then the second one I would say is choose projects, work, a career that aligns with that, and that's really important. If you are in a role that doesn't align with your values, then you will be unhappy and unbalanced. So I really believe that that's really important, to try to align those choices in your life, if you can, as much as possible, with what you believe is important and what you value. And the third one, and it's probably the most important, I feel, is, and I mentioned a little bit of it earlier, is really try to support and empower people who may not have the same opportunities and privileges as you. And that is going to give you the most happiness and the most fulfillment in your life. And it can be simple things. It can be in your family, in your community, or across the world. It really it doesn't matter where you do it. It's just to keep doing it, and to find a way to do that, because that is going to help the world in so many different ways. It has ripple effects and will open up many other opportunities.
Very nice. Ang galing. Yeah, know your values. Ayan, nilist pala ni Eunice. You can see it in the chat section right now. Know your values. Choose a career that's aligned with your values. Perfect. And last but not least, this is ito yung creating a ripple effect or an impact, like Miss Christine mentioned, no. Support and empower other women who might not have, the capacity to, to do so at this point. So, yan. So
Men
I'm
and
sure
women, men and women.
Ayan, perfect. So I'm sure there are more wild wisdoms that we can get from the book. So again, we are flashing it here. It's in the comment section. Ayan. You can buy your copy here of Wild Wisdom by Christina Morlevar. Ayan. You can click it directly no, from the comment section, and we're also flashing it here. Ayan. You can buy it directly from here. And you don't have to buy it if you win a book tonight. O, diba? We have three winners tonight. And of course, pag may three winners na, the rest can still buy from this link. So we will also be putting this link on even after the live event, no. And of course, even after the live event, if nobody is a winner yet, then we will continue to get a winner maybe until tomorrow, no. Tama, until tomorrow, 24 hours until tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Manila time. So ayan, just comment there sa dito sa community sa Big C events, what is the best life for you? Walang maling sagot. Yung best life ng kapatid mo may not be the best life for you. Your best life may not be the best life for your best friend. So anything and everything that you think is the best life for you, that you could write that in the comment section. So ayan, so sobrang alam mo yon, we are so excited, Christine, and congratulations on putting
Thank you so much.
together yan this book, and I'm so excited to read it. I hope I could get a copy of your book. I could read it probably one weekend, and like especially I want to read it before I want to read it before the year ends para like a starter in 2023. So I
Yeah.
think wala na kaming questions, but
Yeah.
siguro
But thank you so much, for connecting me to the Philippine audience. It means a lot to me, especially I know the audience is international too, but we have a lot of viewers from the Philippines. Very, very special place, so close to my heart. And so I just wanted to send that message of gratitude out there. Thank you for joining our event and for listening to me and to learning a bit more about my book. And I hope you enjoy it. If you do get a chance to get a copy, I hope you enjoy it. And I'd love to hear from you in some capacity. They can connect with me on LinkedIn and also on Instagram.
So yeah, and Instagram for Miss Christine is her name, Christine Amor Levar. Just one like
Same with
diretso lang.
LinkedIn.
Yeah. And also on LinkedIn.
Same with
So
LinkedIn. Yeah.
ayan, so I'm not sure maybe we could if you have questions, I think we're nearing the end of our live event, no, but if you have questions, siguro we can grant at least siguro mga one question. If you have questions, si Eunice, siguro you have a question for Miss Christine. Last question for tonight.
I can't hear you.
I was talking, but I wasn't mute, so I'm sorry. Since throughout the talk, we've been talking about best life, wisdom, and all. It seems that Miss Christine, your life is very put together. No, actually, I've been hearing stories from Natalia and from Bill on how organized you are and on how put together your life is. So, with that, were there times that you feel down or parang discouraged, disheartened, and
Mhm.
what did you do?
Oh
Like,
yeah, actually, of course, of course. Yeah,
yeah.
I may seem put together, but of course, there were moments in my life that were also low. And I write about it in the book. I don't want to tell you too much. There were definitely moments. There was one particular moment that was very difficult for me. It was a very low point in my life, and it was actually because of the end of my first marriage. But the wonderful thing is it turned into such a learning journey, and we are very good friends with my ex-husband, who's a wonderful father to my first two children, my older children. And actually, I learned a lot about myself and about being resilient through this experience. And it's not something that is unique. Many people go through that. Those relationship challenges are not easy, but they also can be very formative. And I talk a little bit about the book because we ended up creating a beautiful village. I call it, it's a village. I was able to raise my two children with him and also remarry and have two more children. And we live very close to each other. So without telling you too much, I talk about that in the book as well. And it's one of the things I'm the most proud of, that we were able to keep that relationship so positive and constructive for our children and for ourselves, really.
Ayan, I think that's a good close, no? Yeah, and yeah, that's a good close, no? That like even may ganon, may mga, may mga discouraging events like low points, we can actually like learn from it. We can positively learn or constructively learn from it. So again, thank you so much, Miss Christine, for being with us this tonight. I hope this is not the
For
last.
having me. It's a pleasure. And, I love what Bixie is doing. That's why I'm one of the advisors. You are empowering women in so many different ways, especially through, learning about your financial literacy and learning to save and invest. And I think that's really so important. So to the audience, especially in the Philippines and around the world, who are following Bixie, make sure you do use the app. And I'm a big supporter, of course. They have a beautiful and empowering tool for all of us, for women, and to help us women become better investors, and also more independent financially. So that's really a big part of female empowerment. So I encourage you all to make sure that you download the app and use Bixie. So thanks for having me, and lovely chatting with you both, Bill and Eunice. Wonderful moderators. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Christine. And again, maraming salamat po. So, ladies, we're again flashing. Please get a copy of Christine's book. We're also flashing here the link to Amazon. Ayan, sa mga nagmamadali dyan, gusto ko nang bumili ng book. This is your chance. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Amazon delivers directly now to the Philippines. So it's perfect.
Yes.
And I think,
Oh,
parang free delivery or something. So it's
Yes, yes.
perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah. So,
Okay. Well, I hope you
yes.
enjoy the book. That's for sure. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay. Thank you,
Those
Miss
on
Christine.
live.
See you.
Thank
For
you.
those on for our
Ay, sorry.
viewers
Thank you, Miss Christine. And yeah, we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
For our viewers on Instagram, ayan, so you also have a chance to win your book from Miss Christine. So all you have to do is, of course, download the app and go to the live events community. Then once you go inside, you will see the picture of the book of Miss Christine, Wild Wisdom. Then all you have to do is just type, what is the best life for you? So we're going to pick 3 winners, or who have the best answers. Then those 3 winners would win a free book. Ayan.
Oo. Pag
Diba?
yung sinabi ni Eunice na best answer, hindi lang yung parang best life for me is this. Konting naman, yan, maganda yung mga questions, ay maganda actually yung mga sagot dito.
Yung
But yes,
genuine.
yes. Yung tingin mo, but what? No, there's no wrong question. No wrong answer. But of course, you have to let us know. Hindi yung parang magta-type ka lang ng 2 words, ganon.
Yes.
Actually, ang gaganda ng mga sagot dito. But of course, like we said, we will be getting the winners from the community answers.
Yes.
Ayan. So, yeah, it's quite early. So, kung meron pa kayong mga questions, kung meron pa kayong mga ano pa ba, mga comments, ayan, you can still put in here, and then we will try to answer if we can. But if not, then we will be referring those questions to our advisors or dun sa mga experts inside the Bixie community na pwedeng makatulong sa inyo. So again, I think Eunice, let's add to the stream yung download. Ayan, download ng Bixie. Ayan. So, okay.
Ako, actually, gusto kong sagutin, no, kahit walang nagtatanong sa akin.
Go, for sure.
Diba?
Sumagot ka kaya dito sa app?
Actually, gusto ko manalo ng book. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so ako ang best life ko, bukod sa isasagot ko na to sa loob ng app, para manalo din ako ng book. Diba? Ang definition ko ng best life is, yung meron kang self-contentment na, alam mo yun, yung mga nasa paligid mo, ikaw, healthy ka, ganun. Hindi naman kailangan na super duper mayaman, madaming pera, basta yun you feel peace in your mind and your heart. Wow, diba? Tsaka na, yung good vibes lang for everyone, ganun, around you. Yun ang definition ko ng best life. Pero syempre, ilalagay ko din yun sa app dahil competitive ako. Gusto ko ding manalo ng libro.
Parang gusto ko din. Parang self-serving. Ako yung
hindi, parang sa ating dalawa na lang yung book, tapos yung isa na lang.
Ang weird
Makakasama
naman
ko
nun.
tayo
Hoy,
eh.
wag. Joke lang yun. Hindi pwede yun. So, not, the winners will not be anyone from Big C.
From
Ayan.
Big
So,
C. I
yeah,
will
just
buy the
have,
book directly from Amazon.
yes, bumili kayo, Nis. Tapos hiramin ko na lang. Yeah, we'll buy. But yeah, this is the link. Yan nga po, yung nakikita nyo ngayon. Get the book. But of course, if you want to get a copy for free po lahat yan. Free ang book, free din ang delivery, of course. Door to door, ayan. Si Eunice mismo yung magdadala sa mga bahay nyo.
Yes.
Ayan. So
Gagawin
yes,
ko sa
just
bahay.
answer inside the app. Diyos ko, naghang na tuloy yung cellphone ko, nawalan yata ng internet. But yeah, but again, if you have, ayan, ang dami pa rin sumasagot ng best life, ayan. So, I hope you learned a lot no about tonight about about building your brand. I mean building your best life, building your kumbaga yung parang aligning your values to what you actually do. And ako encourage ko yung sarili ko and also lahat tayo siguro no. Gumawa din siguro tayo ng parang plan, yung parang ginagawa ni Miss Christine yung parang yearly plan niya na minamap out niya. Dati sinusulat lang daw niya, ngayon tinatype na yun. Minamap out niya yung ano niya, yung parang mga events, important events na kailangan magawa niya in this month, ganyan. It's difficult, I think, sa start. Pero,
Hirap, oo. Parang iniisip ko, parang shock. What if maging ningas kugon ako, di ba? Yung,
hindi.
yes, simula, I have my life together. Tapos biglang, hindi ko na kaya.
At least you started. And whenever you start something, yeah, minsan, 'di ba? Hindi naman wala namang formula diyan na you will achieve it in in perfectly next year. But one step, one day at a time, 'di ba? Sabi ko nga sa iyo yung mga mga ano naman natin sa buhay, hindi naman yan overnight. We cannot do things overnight. So, it's a learning process. So, ayan, so I hope everyone has may natutunan tonight about wild wisdom. And yeah, when you read the book, siguro, pwede nyo i-share sa Big C community yung mga learnings nyo. Ayan, kapag na-receive nyo na yung book nyo. Ayan, so again, thank you so much, ladies, for being with us tonight. And sana may next week, ayan, yung ganap namin next week is may nagkakampana yung simbahan. I'm not sure if narinig siya sa audio ko. But because, perfect, kasi pagkasabi ko, nag-bell agad. So, siguro, it's a sign because next week we will be talking about Pixie Bazaar. So, ano ba yung mga bazaar na to? Hindi po kami magbebenta ng anything, no? But we will be featuring women, ayan, with businesses na pwedeng maging, kumbaga parang we will be featuring women with different businesses na maaring maging part ng bazaar na to. And of course, we will be recommending your stores, your businesses to all the women within the Big C community. So napakaganda, no? It's still about empowering women, giving them different channels and avenues to to promote their businesses. So know more about the bazaar, kung paano sumali, paano mailagay sa platform ni Big C yung mga goods nyo, kung meron kayong services, basta legal yan ha, hindi kami basta legal. walang hocus pocus or walang mga kakaibang bagay
Walang
na
monkey
binebenta.
business. Legit business only.
Yes, oo. Ayan, please lang kasi baka umiyak ako. So just message us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or if you have a community dyan inside the Big C app, just comment na parang, hi, I have a photocopying business or I have a printing business o nagbebenta ako ng K-pop merch, just let us know. So ayan, so that's it for our next week's event. Yeah. So Eunice, I give the floor back to you.
So ayan, bago ang lahat, gusto ko lang mag-add up dun sa sinabi ni Ma'am Vil na yung event next week. So, ang bukod sa mag-feature kami ng mga women entrepreneurs, pwede nyo din sila maging inspiration dun sa mga pwede yung business ideas, diba? So, you can draw inspiration and ideas dun sa mga magiging ganap namin next Thursday. So, ayan. Sa mga nasa Instagram, stay tuned next week sa aming Big C Thursday dahil magkakaroon kami ng live event about the Pixie Bazaar. So, to know more, just stay tuned sa aming mga social media channels, social media sites to know more. Ayan. And kung paano kayo maging part nun. So, that's it for this Big C Thursdays live. So, konting kembot na lang. December na, malapit na ang
Yes.
Pasko. Let's feel the Christmas spirit. O, diba? Ayan, so sa ating mga viewers dito, please don't forget to think and to reflect what is best life for you, diba? And once na nakaisip na kayo, just go inside the app, put on that answer inside the app, and get a chance to win your free Wild Wisdom book from Miss Christine Levar.
Mhm.
Ayan. So that's it for today's Big C Thursday. Ayan, maraming salamat po sa ating mga masusugid na taga-subaybay at sa mga bagong kapapanood lang ngayong Thursday. So sana sa uulitin na Thursday, andito pa din kayo and let's continue to inspire and educate everyone with our learnings every Thursday. So bye-bye. See you next week. See you next
See
Thursday.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Nyong. Bye.
Bye.